Shiwa Aui, a leading disciple of Milarepa, once asked his master, when the latter was nearing the end of his life, "Please tell us what are the joys and miseries that sentient beings experience in the 6 realms. Especially, please tell us what are the pleasures devas enjoy." The Jetson replied, "Do not be fascinated by the pleasures of heavenly beings. They also have miseries, like this.
The pleasures enjoyed by men and devas are like the amusements of the heavenly yak. It may low like thunder, but what good can it do? Swooning in a state of trance. The devas in the 4 formless heavens cannot distinguish good from evil, because their minds are dull and callous, insensible, they have no feeling. In unconscious stupefaction, they live many kalpas in a second. What a pity that they know it not. Alas, these heavenly births have neither sense nor value. When they think vicious thoughts, they start to fall again. As to the reason for their fall, scholars, with empty words, have dried their mouths in explanations. In the heavens of form, the devas of the 5 higher and 12 lower realms can only live until their merits are exhausted. Their virtues are essentially conditional, and their karma basically samsaric. Those dharma practicers subject to worldly desires, and those great yogis wrapped in stillness have yet to purify their minds. Huge may be their claims and boasts, but habitual thought seeds in their minds are deeply rooted. After a long dormant time, evil thoughts again will rise. When their merits and fortunes are consumed, they too go to the lower realms. If I explain the horror of a deva's death, you will be disheartened and perplexed. Bear this in your mind and ever meditate.
In a sad mood, the disciples then asked the Jetson to preach to them of the sufferings of the asuras. In response, he sang,
"Great are asuras' sufferings. Misled by malignant thoughts, to all they bring misfortunes. Knowing not their true self-mind, their deeds are self-deceiving, their feelings coarse, their senses crude, deeming all to be their foes. Not even for a moment can they know the truth. Evil by nature, they can hardly bear a loss. Harder is benevolence for them to cherish. Blinded by the karma of belligerence, never can they take good counsel. All nature such as this is caused by seeking pleasures for oneself and bearing harmful thoughts towards others. Pride, favoritism, vanity, and hatred are the evil karmic forces that drag one to a lower birth, making sinful deeds more easy. Ripening karma brings to them an instinctive hatred. Failing to distinguish right from wrong, they can hardly be helped by any means. Bear, O my disciples, this in your minds, and meditate with perseverance all your lives."
Shiwa Aui said, "Now please tell us about the sufferings of human beings." In answer, Milarepa sang,
We human beings are endowed with power to do good or evil deeds. This is because our body, personality, is made of all 6 elements. You junior Repa who desire to be great scholars should know the kernel and shell of Buddhism, lest learning lead you only to confusion. Knowing not the root of mind, useless is it to meditate for years. Without sincerity and willingness, rich offerings have no real meaning. Without giving impartial aid to all, patronage of one's favorite is wrong. Knowing not the right counsel for each man, blunt talk will only bring trouble and discord. He who knows the appropriate way to help men of diverse dispositions can use expedient words for kind and fruitful purposes. He who knows but little of himself can harm many by his ignorance. When goodwill arises in one's mind, stones, trees, and earth all become seeds of virtue. Again, an over-punctilious person knows not how to relax. A gluttonous dog knows not what is hunger. A brazen guru knows not what is fear. Rich men are wretched creatures with their money. Poor men are wretched creatures without money. Alas, with or without money, both are miserable. Happiness will come, dear children, if you can practice the Dharma. Remember then my words, and practice with perseverance.
It is very true that human beings suffer like this, agreed the disciples. Now please tell us about the sufferings in the three miserable realms, even though just to mention them may be distressing. Also, to spur our spiritual efforts, please preach to us of the causes of hell and its woe. In response, Jetson sang,
Those who, for meat and blood, slaughter living beings, will in the 8 hot hells be burned. But if they can remember the good teachings, soon will they be emancipated. Ruthless robbers who strike and kill, wrongly eating others' food, while clinging to their own with greed, will fall into the 8 cold hells. Yet if they do not hold wrong views against the Dharma, it is said that their time for deliverance will come. The Holy Scriptures also say, whene'er the denizens of hell recall the name of Buddha, delivered will they be immediately. Ever repeating sinful deeds means dominance by vice and evil karma. Fiends filled with the craving for pleasures murder even their parents and gurus, rob the 3 gems of their treasure, revile and accuse falsely the precious ones, and condemn the Dharma as untrue. In the hell of unceasing torment, these evil doers will be burned. Far from them, alas, is liberation. This, my sons, will certainly distress you. So into Dharma throw your hearts and devote yourselves to meditation.
For the benefit of sentient beings, please tell us now about the sufferings of the hungry ghosts. In reply, Milarepa sang,
Hungry ghosts, seeing all forms as foes, run from each successive terror. Wild beasts fight and eat each other. Who of them is to blame? The sufferings of the hungry ghosts grow from their stinginess. Like a rat is he who fails to give alms when he is rich, begrudges food when he has plenty, gives no food to others, but checks them over, counts and stores them. Discontented day and night. At the time of death he sees that his hard-earned wealth will be enjoyed by others. Caught in bardo by the agony of loss, as a hungry ghost he lives his life. Due to his delusive thoughts, he suffers thirst and hunger. When he sees his goods enjoyed by others, he is tormented by avarice and hate. Again and again will he thus fall down to hell. I, the great yogi of strength, now sing for you the woes of hungry ghosts. Dear sons and disciples here assembled, think on my words and meditate with perseverance.
Shiwa Aui then requested, Now please tell us of the sufferings of animals. Whereupon Milarepa sang,
Animals, alas, are ignorant and benighted. Most stupid men will incarnate amongst them. Blind and enslaved by evil karma, the ignorant know not Dharma's truth. Blind both to evil and to virtue, they quickly waste their lives away. Unable to reason and use symbols, they act like blind automations. Unable to distinguish wrong from right. Like maniacs, they do much wrong. Some people even say, "'Tis good to be an animal," since it does neither regret nor repent. Alas, how foolish is this thought. Then, all stupid life-takers will incarnate as beasts, the fools who know not right from wrong, and those who harbor vicious thoughts will incarnate as common brutes. Hard it is for me to describe their karmas, but think on my words and cultivate your minds.
Milarepa once took Richungpa to the market of Nianan in order to further his spirit of renunciation. Many butchers had gathered there. The meat was piled up like walls. Animals' heads were stacked in huge heaps. Skins were scattered over the ground, and blood ran together like water in a pond. In addition, rows of livestock were fastened to the stakes for slaughtering. Whereupon, with overwhelming compassion, Milarepa sang,
How pitiful are sentient beings in samsara. Looking upward to the path of liberation, how can one feel aught but sorrow for these sinful men? How foolish and sad it is to indulge in killing, when by good luck and karma one has a human form. How sad it is to do an act that in the end will hurt oneself. How sad it is to build a sinful wall of meat made of one's dying parents' flesh. How sad it is to see meat eaten and blood flowing. How sad it is to know confusions and delusions fill the minds of men. How sad it is to find but vice, not love, in people's hearts. How sad it is to see that blindness veils all men who cherish sinful deeds. Craving causes misery, while worldly deeds bring pain. With this in mind, one feels sorrowful. Thinking thus, one searches for a cure. When I think of those who never take heed for their future lives, but indulge in evil deeds, I feel most disturbed and sad, and deeply fearful for them. Richongpa, seeing all these things, don't you remember holy Dharma? Don't you in samsara lose all heart? Rouse the spirit of renunciation. Go, Richongpa, to the cave to meditate. Heed the bounty of your guru, and avoid all sinful deeds, casting worldly things aside. Stay firm in your practice, keep your good vows, and devote your life to meditation.